I'm going to tell you something I've been noticing lately. I look in the mirror sometimes and I just look tired. Not necessarily old, not necessarily bad, just different. My eyes look a little more tired. My skin might look a little duller. Sometimes the lines around my eyes just seem more obvious. And my face doesn't always have that same rested, hydrated look that it has other days. And because I'm almost 40, my birthday's coming up in April, there is a very easy explanation for all of that. Well, Rebecca, you're getting older. Eh, obviously I am. It's true. I don't have a problem with that. I don't want my 20-year-old face back. I don't want to erase every line on my face. And I don't think beauty and youth are synonyms. They are not interchangeable words. You can't swap one for the other. They don't mean the same thing. So, what if some of the things that I'm calling aging aren't actually aging? What if sometimes my face is showing me that I haven't slept enough, that I haven't eaten enough, that I haven't had, oh man, enough sleep, right? And then to counter it, I've had too much caffeine and not enough actual nourishment. Don't swipe away because if you're in this scenario, you know what I'm talking about, that you can see the stress in your skin, your hormones are changing, or that your skin barrier isn't happy. You might think that I've been really good at putting things on my skin. I've thought this at times while forgetting that my skin is part of the rest of my body because your skin is not a separate decoration attached to you. It's an organ, a living, breathing organ. And your face may be one of the places where what is happening inside your life becomes very visible. So today we're going to talk about the difference between normal aging and a body that may be asking for more support. We're going to talk about sleep, nutrition, hydration, hormones, stress, sunlight, skincare, caffeine, and the things I am personally paying attention to as I approach 40. And I think this conversation matters, whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, or 70, because taking care of yourself is very different from just being afraid of getting older. And I want to get older. I just want to take good care of myself while I do it. So for part one of today's video, I want to talk about the fact that I don't want to declare war on my face. One thing I think our culture gets terribly wrong about skincare for women, men do it too, is that somewhere along the way we start talking about aging as though it's a disease. Anti-aging, reverse aging, erase this, fix that. Don't, ooh, let's just get rid of that. Lift this part, fill that part, cover that part. Like, and listen, I love skincare. I use it. If you've watched this channel for a while, you know that. I've used Jafra since I was a kid because my mom has been involved with Jafra. For 50 years, skincare has genuinely been a part of my life for decades. I enjoy putting on skincare. I enjoy taking care of my face. I enjoy makeup and feeling pretty. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not shallow. But I also don't want to look at my own face every morning like it's a list of problems that need to be corrected. That's not the relationship I want with myself as I get older. It's just not, because some wrinkles are going to come and my face is going to change and my body is going to change. It already has. That's just part of living long enough to experience another season of life, my friend. So I just don't want to dismiss everything I'm seeing or feeling with, well, I'm almost 40. I guess this is just what happens. Sometimes the body, it really does give us clues. And I've talked about this before on this channel. Your body doesn't speak English. It doesn't send you a text saying, You're undernourishing yourself. You're not feeding me enough lately, Rebecca. It doesn't send me that text. Or you. It gives you fatigue. It gives you brain fog. It gives you cravings and weakness and poor sleep. Sometimes it gives you dry skin. Sometimes your hair changes. Sometimes your face looks different. Those symptoms don't automatically tell us why it's happening. They're not a diagnosis, but they are information, valuable information. And I've learned living with multiple sclerosis for nearly 2 decades that I don't want to leave those messages on red as if I saw them but didn't. So for part two, let's talk about that. Sometimes I look old actually means I look tired. We have to start with sleep, my friend, because this one is fascinating to me. There's actually research where scientists have looked at what happens to skin when people aren't sleeping enough. And no, this does not mean that one bad night is going to permanently age your face. That's not it. Please don't go look in the mirror tomorrow after staying up late and panic. No, don't be silly. Of course not. But sleep and consistent bad sleep, especially, it really does affect your skin. So, one study looking at women between 30 and 55 restricted sleep to 3 hours. I know, right? 3 hours per night for just 2 nights. And researchers found changes in skin hydration. There was water loss through the skin, and aspects of skin elasticity and appearance were just different. It changed some. And then there was another study that was comparing women who consistently slept poorly with women who slept well. And they found that the better sleepers actually had a better skin barrier recovery after the researchers intentionally disrupted the barrier. So think about that. While you're asleep, you're not simply unconscious for 8 hours or however long it may be. Your body is still doing things. It's repairing, it's regulating, it's restoring. And I think that we underestimate this because sleep just feels unproductive. You can't post it. You can't necessarily put it on a checklist and show everybody what you accomplished. Nobody walks into your house and says, wow, look at the 8 hours of sleep you got last night. Aren't you amazing? Good job. But your body knows, doesn't it? And your skin, it's going to know too. So when I see myself looking just particularly exhausted, I'm trying to change the question. Instead of immediately thinking, well, I'm just aging, I want to ask, Rebecca, how have you been sleeping? Because they're different questions, they're different scenarios. So for part three, let's talk about the mirror and how it can make us very bad scientists. It's another thing that I've realized. Human beings are just really bad at objectively evaluating our appearance. Think about it. You can wake up one morning, look in the mirror and think, oh my gosh, I look terrible. Ugh. Then 2 days later, you wake up and look completely different and you feel great. You feel fine. You're good. What? Like you didn't biologically age 5 years and then reverse it in 48 hours. Something changed. Maybe you slept. Maybe inflammation reduced. Maybe that changed. Maybe you're hydrated when you were feeling and looking better. Maybe you ate differently the day before or a couple of the days before. Maybe the bathroom lighting isn't trying to destroy your self-esteem that morning because you got new light bulbs that are warm instead of white brightness. Or, there's so many things that can affect how we feel about how we look. But that fluctuation tells us something important because bathroom lighting, it, no, it deserves its own medical diagnosis or no. No, it tells us that not everything you see is permanent. And that's comforting. That's encouraging because I don't want us looking at one photograph or one morning in the mirror and deciding I am just falling apart. You're looking at one snapshot of a living body in one moment. So, for part four, let's discuss what happens to skin as we actually age. So, maybe we can be a little kinder to ourselves. Let's separate this from actual aging because your skin, it does change with age, and that's real. The collagen changes and the elasticity changes, and the skin is going to get thinner. It will over time, and it can become drier. Its ability just simply to hold on to moisture changes with age, and hormonal changes, obviously around menopause, are going to contribute to some of those changes. And the American Academy of Dermatology notes that as estrogen levels decline, skin can become thinner and it has a harder time retaining water and just recycling itself. This is one of the reasons I think that women approaching 40 are suddenly paying so much more attention to perimenopause. We're realizing that menopause isn't a switch that just flips on one morning when you're 50. No, there's a transition before menopause. Hormones can fluctuate and cycles can change and sleep can change and body composition can change. Mood, skin, hair, it all changes. But here's the part I don't want us to, it's the part I don't want us to do. I don't want every woman who has dry skin at 38 going, it's my estrogen. Maybe, maybe not. Dry skin, it has a lot of possible causes. Fatigue has a lot of possible causes, and brain fog has a lot of causes. Hair changes, also lots of causes. That nuance is important. There's a very profitable corner on the internet right now where every problem a woman has is being blamed on cortisol, hormones, or some mysterious imbalance. And I think we have to be careful with that. Hormones matter enormously, so much, but we are whole people. Sometimes you're tired because you didn't sleep, and sometimes you're shaky because you haven't eaten. Sometimes you're dry because your skin barrier is irritated. Sometimes there's an underlying medical problem, and sometimes often there's several things happening at once. And the goal isn't to find one trendy villain. The goal is to learn to pay attention. So for part five, let's talk about the cortisol face that's on the internet. Because if you've been on social media at all, you've probably seen this. Cortisol face, adrenal fatigue, reset your cortisol belly, your face is cortisol, your exhaustion is cortisol. Cortisol is real and it's an important hormone. Your body needs it. Stress absolutely affects the body, and stress can affect your skin. Dermatologists describe connections between chronic stress, inflammation, skin conditions, and impaired skin recovery. But that's different from saying you look puffy, therefore your cortisol is broken. That's just too simple. It's just not that simple. And adrenal fatigue specifically is it's not an established medical diagnosis. Medical experts have warned that vague symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, and weight changes shouldn't automatically be attributed to like exhausted adrenal glands. I think this is where health information online gets kind of dangerous. We'll take one true thing, like stress affects the body because it does, and then we turn it into every symptom you have is cortisol. Buy my supplement and no. We can do better than that. Your body deserves more curiosity than just a viral diagnosis. So for part six, let's talk about food. What about food? We're getting into the part of this conversation that has been especially personal for me lately because I know a lot about nutrition. I'm a nutritionist. I'm a certified health coach, and I can tell somebody else what a nourishing meal looks like. I understand protein and micronutrients and real food, and I understand fasting. I've literally written a book about fasting. And yet, I'll put the link below in the description if you're interested. Yet, knowing something and consistently doing it are two very different things. I've talked openly lately about the fact that I haven't always been eating enough and that I haven't always eaten perfectly. And I think this is another mistake we can make when we're talking about looking and feeling our best. We focus so heavily on what we should remove and what we didn't or did do. Don't eat this, avoid that, fast longer, cut the sugar, cut the carbs, cut the processed foods. And sometimes the question actually needs to be, what does my body need to add? Protein, healthy fats, vegetables, fruit, minerals, enough total food with water and rest. Your body needs raw materials. Your skin needs raw materials. Your nervous system, your immune system, they need these materials that we get from food. Now, I love fasting, and I believe fasting can be an incredibly valuable tool when it is used appropriately. But fasting is supposed to exist alongside nourishment. They go together. Eating less and less and less isn't automatically healthier. That's something I have to remind myself and make sure you're eating enough while implementing the fasting. So for part 7, you cannot skincare your way out of undernourishment. I want to say this carefully because I don't want anybody hearing, if you eat perfectly, you'll never age. Absolutely not. It's not true. Food does not make us immortal, even perfect food. A salad doesn't erase wrinkles, and nobody should be afraid that eating something imperfect has damaged their face. That's not where we're going. But there is something almost funny about spending a fortune trying to make the outside of the body appear well cared for while ignoring the basic needs of the inside. Imagine putting $100 moisturizer on your face and then going all day without feeding yourself. I've done that before. And beautiful skincare routines and then caffeine and more caffeine. And you keep going and you get things done. And eventually you wonder, why do I feel so terrible? Well, maybe we need to stop asking skincare to compensate for an exhausted body. There are things skincare does beautifully, and there are things nutrition does, and there are things sleep does, and there are things medicine does, and they're not interchangeable. All right, for part 8, let's talk about the caffeine question. I have to talk about caffeine because I'm talking to myself here. I like caffeine. I use caffeine. I want to cut it out. And I'm working on it. But I'm not about to sit here and make caffeine the villain of the video. That being said, there is a point where caffeine stops being a beverage and starts becoming a strategy for overriding fatigue. Ugh. And those are, it's a problem because it's not the same thing. If I wake up exhausted and my answer is caffeine, and then I'm still tired, so I have more caffeine and I don't feel hungry because I've had a bunch of caffeine, and then I don't eat, and then I don't have enough energy because I haven't eaten. And my solution is more caffeine. Whew, we've created a loop. And you've probably done it too. Maybe not. Maybe you haven't. I hope that's true for you. But for most of us, we've fallen into this loop. And the body is still underneath all of it saying, hello, I'm tired. I didn't actually need another cup of coffee. I'm tired. Okay, I got the coffee. I just wanted support. Like, again, it's not me saying everybody has to quit caffeine. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we need to notice what job we're asking it to perform. Is it just something that we're having because we enjoy it occasionally? It's probably okay. Or is it something we're using consistently to silence the message of our body that we're trying not to hear? It's an important question, my friends. Be honest with yourself. So, for part 9, I want to talk about hydration and that it's not just drink more water. Hydration is it's another place where social media takes something simple and can make it weird. You get giant gallon water bottles and special powders and electrolytes for people who haven't moved from the couch. What? No. $20 packets? Warnings that plain water apparently has forgotten to be water. Okay, your body absolutely needs adequate fluid, but hydration isn't a beauty hack. It's a basic physiology. And when we're talking specifically about skin, there's another type of hydration we need to understand too. Keeping water in the skin. That's what the skin barrier helps with. Like imagine the outer layer of your skin as like a barrier, like a wall, holding out the bad and keeping in the good. The cells are sort of like the bricks, and fats between them help to form the material holding that wall together. When that barrier is irritated or damaged, water can escape more easily, and things that normally wouldn't bother you may suddenly sting or irritate. And this is why somebody can keep buying more and more hydrating products and still have unhappy skin. Sometimes you don't need more active, sometimes you need to stop attacking your face. So for part 10, let's talk about why your skin barrier may need less, not more. It's one of the biggest shifts happening in skincare right now, and I actually love it because for years social media rewarded intensity. Exfoliate, acid, peel, scrub, retinol, another serum, another active, another mask, a 10-step routine. And people started realizing my skin just kind of hurts. And now barrier health is becoming a huge conversation. Recent dermatology guidance for aging skin is emphasizing gentle cleansers, moisturization, consistent sunscreen, and more tolerable actives or simpler routines rather than aggressively just piling products together. And there are dermatologists that are warning that the pursuit of viral glass skin can become counterproductive if people over exfoliate trying to create poreless perfection. I think that is such a good metaphor for health generally. And I think that is sometimes more effort isn't the answer. Sometimes the body needs less punishment, more consistency, more nourishment, and more recovery. So, for part 11, let's talk about healthy skin and that it does have pores. Let's realize something. Skin has pores. Skin has texture. Skin moves when you smile. These wrinkles naturally happen. Okay, it creases. Your skin is not supposed to look like somebody applied a blur filter to your actual head. And I think people my age in their 40s, especially, particularly strange position because we remember life before every picture was filtered, and now we're aging in a world where we're constantly looking at faces that don't actually exist. The lighting is altered, the skin is smooth, the eyes are brightened, the under eye is erased, the jaw can be reshaped. I mean, it is crazy. I had no idea until I started making YouTube videos how much people can literally alter their complete appearance. This isn't filtered. This is just me. I have a nice light that I'm trying to make the room a little nicer. There's no filter, but people can take their face and filter it and change it. Like it is so crazy. But you may be asking when you look in the mirror in your bathroom's unforgiving light, you may think, I've done this. Okay. What happened to me? Nothing happened to you, my friend. You're comparing your skin to the ability of computer software to alter an image. Healthy skin is not the same as flawless looking skin. Those are completely different goals. All right, let's talk about sunlight. Health and skin are allowed to be nuanced. So for part 12, we've got to talk about sunlight because it's one of those subjects where people sometimes feel like they have to pick a team. Either the sun is dangerous, hide from it, put on a hat, put on sunblock, put on shade, don't go outside, stay under the awning, or there's the other thought. The sun is natural, therefore it can never hurt you. I'm going to lay out for hours. I don't care what the burn tells me. And I don't think either extreme is helpful or useful. Our bodies interact with light. Light helps regulate circadian rhythm and sun exposure. It's involved in vitamin D production. I've done an entire video about vitamin D because the subject is fascinating, especially when you're talking about immune health and MS. And ultraviolet exposure contributes to skin aging and it increases skin cancer risk. Like both things can be true. I don't need to be afraid of the sun, and I don't need to pretend that UV radiation can't damage skin. That's why sunscreen remains one of the most evidence supported things we can do to help protect skin from premature visible aging and skin cancer. Dermatologists continue to recommend broad spectrum SPF 30 or higher. That's not anti nature, that's just understanding biology. A little bit of sun each day is good. It's needed. It's healthy. 15 or 20 minutes in the sun every day, I recommend. More than that, if you're going to be out in the sun, especially for more than an hour, sunblock is probably going to be a good idea for you. So consider it. For part 13, let's talk about hormones and the face you see in the mirror. We have to come back to hormones because this is probably going to become a bigger conversation on this channel as I turn 40. Not because I want to turn every problem into perimenopause, but because I want to understand what's happening in my own body rather than just getting surprised by it. Estrogen interacts with skin, and as hormone levels change later in life, skin can become drier and thinner, like I mentioned earlier. And this is interesting to me because it reminds me that what we think of as a beauty problem may sometimes be physiology. A woman may say, my moisturizer stopped working. I think they changed the product or but maybe the skin itself has changed. She might say, my skin suddenly looks different. And there may be multiple things contributing, like hormones, sun exposure accumulates over decades, sleep, stress, genetics, skincare, nutrition, just normal passage of time. And that's why I don't love simplistic promises. Nobody can look at your face through a TikTok video and diagnose your hormones. They just can't. So for part 14, let's discuss the MS piece. For me, this is another layer because I live with multiple sclerosis. I've had it for 20 years. Fatigue can be complicated when you have MS. Brain fog also can be complicated. Weakness can be complicated. Sleep can be complicated. So if I'm exhausted, I can't automatically say it's MS, but I also can't pretend MS doesn't exist. This is where learning your own body becomes so important. I ask, have I eaten? Have I slept? Have I been under a lot of stress? Am I hydrated? Like, did I drink enough today and yesterday? Have I been taking care of myself? Like, is this familiar to you? Is this something that you've dealt with? Like, I have to ask myself too, like, what am I dealing with currently? Is it new? Is it usual? Is it unusual? And I want to make this distinction because listening to your body should not mean becoming afraid of your body. They're not the same thing. I don't want to spend every morning scanning myself for evidence that something's wrong. I want awareness, not obsession. So for part 15, let's talk about that maybe the goal isn't anti-aging. I've been thinking about the phrase skin longevity. It's become popular in beauty right now. And while some of that is definitely just marketing because the beauty industry has discovered a new phrase it can put on a bottle, I actually like the concept better than anti-aging because longevity says take care of this so it serves you well for a long time because it's precious. And that's how we need to think about our muscles, right? We got these muscles, we've got these bones, the brain, the heart, it's in here. Mobility, like, why wouldn't we think that way about our skin? Not, how can I make my face look 22 forever? No, we can't. But how do I keep my skin healthy, resilient, and protected for the decades that I hope to still have ahead of me? That feels completely different to me because I don't want to spend the next 40 years grieving the previous 40. I want to live them. So for part 16, I want to talk about what I'm actually going to do. Here's what I'm changing, and I'm deliberately not giving you a 27-step anti-aging protocol because well, I won't consistently do it myself. I want something that you can do that I can do. Let's focus on foundations. Number one, I want to eat enough. Not perfectly, but enough of actual meals like protein, plants, healthy fats, foods with vitamins, minerals, and just real nutrients in it. And I want to use fasting as a purposeful tool rather than allowing I haven't eaten yet to masquerade as intentional fasting. There's a difference. Number two, I'm going to respect sleep, not treat it like the thing I do after everything important is finished. Sleep is one of the most important things you can do. Number three, I want to pay attention to caffeine. Again, you don't have to eliminate it necessarily, but notice when we're using caffeine to manufacture energy instead of supporting energy. Number four, I want a simple, consistent skincare routine. Cleanse gently, hydrate, moisturize, use the products that I enjoy genuinely, and then remember to protect my skin if I'm going to be out in the sun for too long. And not throw necessarily 12 aggressive ingredients on my face because some 22-year-old on TikTok has skin that looks good and says you want to be like a pane of glass. No, let's be real, people. Number five, I want to move my body. Strength, walking, mobility. Movement is part of aging well. We've got to get moving. We have to do it, even if we don't want to. We got to do it. Number six, I want to get more curious about hormonal changes without blaming them for everything. I need education. I need awareness, not panic. And let's learn together as we do this. Number seven, I want to reduce the amount of stress I create for myself around my health if I can, because health shouldn't become a performance. There's no prize at the end of the tunnel for having the most disciplined wellness routine. No one's going to ask you on your deathbed if you had a checklist. For part 17, this is something I think women need to hear, but men, you listen too, because we all need to hear. If you've looked in the mirror lately and thought, I'm getting old. Hmm, maybe you are. I am too. We're getting older. And what a privilege that is. Hmm. But before you turn your face into a project that needs fixing, ask a few more questions. Am I rested? Hmm. Am I nourished? Have I been stressed? Have I been living on caffeine? Be honest with yourself, not me. I'm your friend. I'm here for you. I don't care. Like, if you want to drink caffeine, do it. I'm not judging you. One of my good friends, I made a video on fasting and caffeine just like a couple weeks ago, and she even commented and she's like, Rebecca, I feel like you're calling me out on this. Kat, I wasn't. I promise. I love you. I drink caffeine. Her and I were both Alani victims because we like Alanis. They're so tasty. And I'm not advertising for them. I'm just saying that's the drink we both like. And we both have had to admit to ourselves at times that we're kind of living on caffeine. I have 7 kids. She has like 100 kids. And so it's just, we have a lot of caffeine we drink. All right, that was a total like side confession. But the point is, are we having too much? Am I drinking enough water to counter the need for the liquid that comes with the hydration? Be honest. Have I been aggressive with my skin? Have my hormones or cycles been changing and I'm not respecting it? Am I protecting my skin? Remember, protection with hydration and a good sunblock when you need it. Also, do I actually feel well? Right? Like when I look and I'm judging myself, am I sick today? Because my friends, living with MS changes your immune system. It does. And how you respond to things. And I I personally am ultra sensitive and I get sick all the time. And I wish I didn't, but I do. And so when I am sick, I have to acknowledge it, right? If I'm going to look in the mirror and hate myself, but I also have a fever that's 100 or 101 and I didn't sleep last night and I couldn't keep food down the day before, and now this morning I'm mad at myself, I do it. I do that. So you probably do too. Please be kind to yourself. We're human, but we're alive and we're still doing this. And we both got out of bed this morning. All right. Part 18. The bigger thing I'm learning at almost 40. And I'm running out of time. I'm actually timing myself because I have to go pick up one of my daughters for a doctor's appointment in like 12 minutes. Shoot. Okay. Let me wrap this up. The bigger thing that I'm learning at almost 40, I'm starting to think that this season of my life is less about controlling my body and more about partnering with it. When I was younger, health sometimes felt like, how do I make my body do what I want it to? Lose the weight, push harder, eat less, be disciplined, push, 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 and ignore the tiredness. Don't you dare be tired. You have things to do. Keep going. Fix. Make up. Fix it, fix it, fix it. I'm beginning to see health is a little bit different than that. You can't just fix it, fix it, fix it. What if the question is, what does this body need from me so that we can keep doing life together? There are trillions of cells inside of this skin barrier trying to stay alive, trying to function, trying to support the whole system. What does this body need from me so we can keep going? I've asked a lot of my body. I've had children. I've grown 3 human beings inside this body and raised 7. I've lived with autoimmune disease pretty much my entire life. Started when I was 17, diagnosed at 20 with MS. I've gained significant unhealthy amount of weight and then lost it and regained and lost. I've fasted, I've worked. I've slept too little. I've pushed through exhaustion when I shouldn't have. I've worried, I've celebrated, I've gotten older, and this body has carried me through all of it. I don't think I need to worship my body, but I do think I'm responsible for caring for the vessel that has been carrying me through this life. And my faith influences the way I see that. I believe this life and this body are gifts from God, temporary gifts, and I want to steward it well. Not because I think I have to do everything perfectly. No, I don't. Life doesn't work that way. God is merciful and offers us grace. But it's because taking care of something valuable is an expression of gratitude. Yes, I still love skincare and everything I just said. I'm still going to use skincare. I'm still going to put stuff on my face. I'm still going to use eye treatment and moisturizer and sunscreen. I'm going to try products. I'm still going to use Jafra. I'm still going to look in the mirror and sometimes think, "Ooh, my skin looks a little rough today." This isn't contradictory. This is honest. Taking care of your appearance and accepting aging are allowed to exist together. You don't have to choose between I don't care what I look like and I must look 25 forever. There's an enormous amount of healthy ground in between those two choices. I can care about my skin because I like to care for my skin, not because I'm terrified of getting older. My challenge for you this week, here's what I want you to do. Not for a month, not for a year, just for 7 days. Instead of only evaluating how your face looks, start noticing what has been happening in your life before you looked at it. Just pay attention. How much sleep did you get? Did you eat enough? How much caffeine did you have? Were you under unusual stress? How does your skin actually feel? Is it soft? Is it squishy? Is it like, how does it feel? Dry, comfortable, tight, irritated? Did you exercise? Did you drink enough water? Were you outside? Were you on your period? Is that relevant for you? Don't obsess, just pay attention. You don't have to do a spreadsheet. Just become curious and notice whether your skin and your energy seem connected to the way you've been living. Because you may discover that some of the things that you thought were simply, I'm getting older, are actually, I need to take better care of myself. And some of it really will be aging. That's okay too. In closing, I want to share that I am almost 40. I do have lines on my face that weren't there when I was 20. I'll probably have more in 10 years when I'm 50, hopefully even more at 70. I want the opportunity to grow old, but I also want to arrive there strong. Let's do it, my friends. Clear minded, capable, nourished, present, still curious, and still taking care of ourselves, still learning, and hopefully still sitting here talking with you and you watching my videos. So I'm not declaring war on aging. I'm paying attention because maybe healthy aging doesn't start with trying to look younger. Maybe it starts when we stop ignoring what our bodies have been trying to tell us. I've been trying to notice changes in my body as I've gotten older. Tell me what you've noticed. What changes do you see? Is it your skin, your sleep, your energy, your hormones, your hair, your mood? Something completely different. Leave a comment below. I'd like to know. I read the comments. I really want these conversations to become a place where women can say, is anybody else experiencing this? And discover that we're not the only ones trying to figure out this season in life. I want us to figure this out together. Subscribe and come back. We're going to keep talking about health, aging, nutrition, fasting, skincare, multiple sclerosis, and what it really looks like to care for a real human body and a real human life. And until next time, my friend, please take care of yourself, not because you're afraid of getting older, but because you are worth taking care of. You really are.